Dear audience, hello. Today is June 17th, 2025. This is the latest financial news at Finance Today MX with our top story today. Assets in investment funds have the potential to match Mexico's GDP, AMIB. Asociación Mexicana de Instituciones Bursátiles. Stories of the day. Assets in investment funds have the potential to match Mexico's GDP, AMIB. ANTAD sales grow at their fastest pace in almost 3 years, boosted by the hot sale. Sales at the country's retail stores grouped under the National Association of Self-Service and Department Stores, ANTAD, had their best performance in almost 3 years, avoiding signs of slower economic growth and weaker consumer spending. Skyway increases bid amid several offers to acquire an agrofibra company undergoing restructuring. The real estate management company Skyway Equities increased its public offer through which it seeks to acquire control of agrofibra, a real estate trust focused on the agri-food sector with low marketability and a portfolio that has not grown, and in which there are several interested parties. Business. America Mobile seeks $500 million with 2033 bond. Moody's. America Mobile, one of the 10 largest telecommunications companies in the world by number of users, will seek to raise up to $500 million through the sale of senior, unsecured bonds due 2033, which it will use for corporate purposes, including debt repayment. CAIM is intervened by the CNEV to protect savers. The popular financial company Consejo de Asistencia al Microemprendedor, CAIM, was intervened by the National Banking and Securities Commission, CNBV, with the intention of suspending its operations and thus safeguarding the interests of savers. Tesla rises 1.2% amid expectations of more robotaxi news. Tesla, the American electric vehicle manufacturer, rose 1.17% at the close of trading on Monday to $329.13 after its founder and CEO, Elon Musk, announced a few days ago that he is preparing to launch his autonomous robotaxi in Austin, Texas, tentatively on June 22nd, although the date could change. WhatsApp prepares to launch ads and channel subscriptions. Meta Platforms, the parent company of some of the most widely used social media platforms around the world, such as Facebook and Instagram, announced this Monday that it will gradually introduce channel subscriptions, promoted channels, and ads in WhatsApp statuses over the coming months as part of a new version of the app. OPI and Conmex appoint Cuellar as CEO. Cuesta succeeds him. Infrastructure Project Organization, OPI, and Concesionaria Mexiquense, two subsidiaries of highway concession operator Aliatica, appointed Ricardo Esteban Cuellar Espino as their new CEO, effective June 13th. Mercado Pago triples remittance receipts in 2025. Mercado Pago, the financial platform of Latin American e-commerce giant Mercado Libre, said it has tripled its remittance receipts in Mexico so far this year compared to the same period in 2024.
U.S. Steel closes at 14-year high on NYSE after sale to Nippon Steel approved. Shares of United States Steel Corporation (USX) rose 5.1% on Monday in the U.S. stock market after President Donald J. Trump approved the company's proposed partnership with its Japanese counterpart, Nippon Steel.
OXXO says it reaffirms its commitment to the Made in Mexico initiative.
The convenience store chain OXXO, part of the Mexican Economic Development Conglomerate, FEMSA, said it reaffirmed its commitment to the Made in Mexico initiative, promoted by the federal government through the Ministry of Economy. Private consumption in Mexico remained unchanged in May, falling 0.5% at an annual rate, according to the IOCP, National Institute of Statistics and Geography. Private consumption in the domestic market in Mexico stagnated and showed no monthly variation in May, according to the timely indicator known as IOCP, National Institute of Statistics and Geography.
China says retail sector accelerates, industrial production slows in May.
China's economy continued to experience the effects of trade tensions with the United States in May, despite an initial agreement reached that month to reduce the reciprocal tariffs imposed by the world's two largest economies. INA warns of rising costs and contracts at risk due to reduced working hours. The legislative proposal to reduce the working week from 48 to 40 hours in Mexico could raise costs for companies and lead to the loss of international contracts, said the National Auto Parts Industry, INA. HR Ratings expects an additional 100 basis point cut in Banxico rate by the end of 2025. Economists at the Mexican rating agency HR Ratings expect the Bank of Mexico's Board of Governors to make additional 100 basis point cuts to the country's benchmark interest rate throughout the remainder of the year. Empire State Manufacturing Index falls to -16 in June, lowest level in 3 months. The index measuring manufacturing activity in the state of New York, in the United States, fell from -9.2 points in May to -16 points in June, according to the Empire State Manufacturing Survey conducted by the New York Federal Reserve.
Israel says it has control of airspace over western Iran.
The Israeli government said it gained air superiority over the western part of the Islamic Republic of Iran, including its capital, Tehran, 48 hours after the start of a war that included mutual missile launches, according to international media reports.
Special section. Beyond the Obvious, by Franklin Templeton, Mexico. Markets are starting the week with their attention focused on the war between Iran and Israel. Although the risk of regional escalation is maintaining tension among investors, particularly regarding oil, there is a possibility that the nervousness will dissipate if it is perceived that the conflict between the two countries will remain contained. If the geopolitical tension subsides, the focus will shift to the FOMC's decision, where no changes to the reference rate are anticipated, but further clues are expected with the update of the forward guidance on the future path of its reference rate. Projections are likely to confirm a slower pace of cuts, with a more cautious tone regarding the evolution of the economy and the possible effects of the tariff policies promoted by the president. Regarding economic indicators, mixed figures are expected. May retail sales could show a monthly contraction, which would fuel the narrative of an economy that could show impacts from tariff policies. On the other hand, leading activity indicators such as the manufacturing and services PMIs will be released, which could provide clues about the resilience of the private sector despite the restrictive environment. In Mexico, retail sales data and the IGAE indicator for April are expected, which will allow for an assessment of whether the weak momentum observed in March was transitory or marks the beginning of a more prolonged slowdown. These data, along with the ANTAD, National Institute of Statistics and Census, could show that household consumption continues to show greater optimism compared to business sentiment. Finally, surveys on the Mexican economy will be released, which are expected to continue to confirm near-zero economic growth for the current year and inflation relatively anchored within Banxico's target range. The latter will be relevant for the Banxico Governing Board's decision next week. Thanks for listening. If you have found this information useful, please help us by subscribing to the channel as well as share, comment and click on the bell so you get the latest and greatest financial news every day. Sincerely, thank you. Have a good one.